Let's get started. Good evening. Nice to see everyone. I want to start this training a little differently than most because tonight's not about giving you more information. It's about really changing the way you see where you're at right now on this journey of building your bookkeeping business. A lot of people in this room have been carrying around a story. And maybe it sounds something like, I should be further along. I wasted too much time. Other people are further ahead of me. Maybe I just am not getting this. And here's the problem with that story. It creates pressure, but it doesn't create progress. It makes you move and feel heavy, but it doesn't help you make forward momentum and progress. So tonight we're going to do a little bit of a reset. We're going to take that weight off your shoulders and replace it with something much, much more useful. And here's the truth I want you to really hear tonight. Your results don't come from perfect timing. They don't come from consistent motion. Not from when you started, not from how long that you've been thinking about it, but from how often you're actually moving, how often you're actually doing things, how often you're actually, focused on building your business. So this is not a feel good and leave the same kind of session. This is a reset. And we're going to simplify what actually matters. And we're going to identify what's really been possibly slowing you down at your journey. And my goal is by the end of this training, you're going to know exactly what to do next. Not 10 things and not a complicated plan, just a clear, simple movement. And that's where everything changes. So let's talk about why this feeling shows up in the first place. Because this feeling's not random. If you're feeling behind, you're not alone. This is one of the most common things we see at this stage in building your business because it doesn't come from one big mistakes. It comes from a handful. It comes from a handful of patterns that quietly stack up over time. Oh, if someone's muted, needs to mute themselves, check and make sure that you're muted if you can. Thank you so much. Um, you know, as I said, this is one of the most common things that we see at this stage. It's a pattern of things that quietly stack up over time. Things like comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. Watching someone who has clients, confidence, and systems and thinking, why am I not there yet? Or, consuming more than you can implement. This is one of the biggest mistakes people can make is consuming more than they can implement. Watching trainings, taking notes, thinking about what you're going to do, but not actually taking consistent action. Or here's one, measuring your progress on how you feel. Some days you feel motivated, some days you don't. And you start using that as a scoreboard. And then this one's a big one. Waiting for clarity. Telling yourself, once I feel more ready, I'm going to get started. Or once I understand everything, I'm going to take action. And then what happens?
No.
Exactly. The biggest thing, all of these together create this quiet belief that I'm behind. And here's the real issue. Once you believe that, you start slowing down even more. You hesitate, you overthink, you pull back. You think if I just ignore it, it'll go away. And then you stop doing the very things that would actually create momentum in your business. I couple years ago, I went on a weight loss journey and I lost like 113 pounds in a year. And there were times that I knew I was veering off. I'd go have a bad meal. I'd go do something. And the next day I would purposely not weigh. And I think in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I weighed there that day. If I don't weigh today, did I really actually gain the weight? And so you start convincing yourself, and then 2 days go by and I don't weigh in, and 3 days go by, I don't weigh, and then lo and behold, a week goes by and I've gained 5 pounds. And so it's forgiving yourself when you slip, but getting back and taking momentum. Momentum creates lead flow creates discovery calls turn into clients. So tonight, our goal is to break that cycle. All right, this is one of the most important shifts that you can make, because most people measure progress the wrong way. They ask, how long have I been doing this? Why am I not further along? But time is not what actually builds business. You can spend 6 months working on your business and still avoid conversations, visibility, offers, real action, doing things. You can be busy in your business for 6 months, but not doing any of the things consistently that turn into clients. Things like consistently having conversations, being consistently visible on social media, offering to have conversations with people, taking real action, and then nothing changes. But someone else can spend 2 focused weeks having conversations, following up, showing up consistently, and start seeing traction. So the better question is not, how long have I been doing this? The better question is, what kind of motion have I created? Because motion creates everything you actually want. It creates conversations. It creates visibility. It builds confidence. It creates momentum. And here's why this should feel encouraging. Your future is not controlled by how long you've been thinking about this. It's controlled by what you start doing consistently today, which means no matter where you feel you are, you're not stuck. You're just one shift away from moving differently and building your business. And here's where this really starts to go sideways for people. When you feel behind. When you feel behind, you usually start solving the wrong problems. Instead of asking yourself, what action do I need to take? You start asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Maybe this wasn't the right journey that I was supposed to take. Why am I moving so slow? And that shift can be subtle, but it's so dangerously expensive, because now the focus isn't on movement anymore. It's on self-judgment. You start thinking, why am I so slow? Why can't I figure this out? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And what happens is you move from strategy into emotion. You move from fact into fear. And more importantly, you move from execution into comparing yourself to other people in the academy, comparing yourself to other people around you. And that creates a vicious cycle. Because the worse you feel, the less you act. Going back to that getting on the scale analogy. I trick myself into thinking that I didn't spend a week falling off of the weight loss wagon because I didn't weigh myself. Doesn't mean it's not there. avoiding it doesn't make it go away. It didn't make me all of a sudden decide one day, that's it, I'm done, I don't want to lose weight. Just hit the reset button and start focused again. The less you act, the more you're gonna feel like you're behind. So let me interrupt that cycle for you right now. You're not the problem. The problem is where your focus has been. So quit beating yourself up. You need to get back to asking a better set of questions. What creates progress? And what am I doing consistently? Deanna and I have 6 different businesses. We do something purposefully to drive our businesses every single day of the week, 7 days a week. We've got busy calendars. We've got 5 grandchildren that all live within a 20-minute radius of us. But our businesses are important to us, and we take action in our businesses every single day, even if it's an hour on Sunday doing social media posts. Because responsibility moves you forward. Shame is what keeps you stuck. And tonight, I want you to choose to move forward, no matter what stage you're at, no matter if you've got 20 clients or 0 clients. Tonight, we're together gonna choose to move forward. So I want to get everybody in the right mindset. So I want you to type in the chat, I'm in. And I'm going to start. I want to see that you're committed. I want to see that you're committed to really hitting a reset button, no matter where you're at. And I don't care if you got 20 clients. Every single day, I love that. Every single day, we could do something better that we didn't do yesterday. And that type of open mindset, that's what keeps us moving towards, regardless of the challenges. So, if it's not that you're behind, then what is actually going on? In this stage, almost everyone who feels stuck is dealing with some version of the same 4 things. And once you see these for what they really are, they stop feeling like they're permanent. So let's walk through. Number 1, fear of doing it wrong. This is the voice that says, I need more time to prepare. Just one more teachable section. I should probably learn a little bit more first. I don't want to mess up. So you wait. Number 2, fear of rejection. This is the one that keeps people quiet. I don't want to bother people. What if they say no? What if they ignore me? We are human. We never want to be ignored. So instead of reaching out, we just stay in our own bubble. Number 3, overwhelm. Trying to do everything at once. You're focused on niche. You're focused on brand, website, content, systems, tools. Trying to do everything. And because everything feels so important, guess what? Nothing gets done consistently. And number 4, lack of structure and discipline. No clear daily plan. So your action depends on how you feel that day. And let's be honest. If action depends on emotion, by its very nature, it's going to be inconsistent. So here's the key. None of these mean that you can't do this. None of these change your why you went on this journey. This means you haven't built a system that really helps you move through them consistently yet. And that's what we're going to try to fix. So let's zoom in on the first one, because this one is one of the biggest silent killers of momentum: perfection. Perfection. It sounds reasonable. I just want to do it right. I want to make sure I know what I'm doing. I don't want to look inexperienced. And that sounds clear, that sounds smart, but in reality, it becomes a delay tactic. It shows up like this. I need more training first. I need to understand everything before I talk to people. My message needs to be better before I post it. I need to have the perfect website. And what we're really doing is we're waiting to feel ready before you move on. And here's the truth. You don't need to be ready. When it comes to the bookkeeping part of it, when it comes to the sales and marketing part of it, you got the academy for all of that. You have got an entire subject matter platform with 6 bookkeepers, 4 business coaches, hours worth of training, an accountability dedicated success manager. You just need to take action. And that's what really matters. You get better by having conversations. You get better by sending messages, by posting imperfectly. I tell you what, when you do things like that, you seem human. You don't seem like an automated machine. One of the most interesting things. So last week we had a 3-day challenge. Majority of you came in through the academy, either through one of our 3-day challenges or one of our webinars. In day 2, we had a massive technical issue that took us off track for 20 minutes of the training. But so many people responded in the chat. They actually started rooting for us to fix it. They actually said, wow, y'all are real. This is not some kind of recording. A imperfect post imperfect things mean you're human. No one starts polished. Everyone improves through reps. Everybody gains confidence through practice. So if you've been holding yourself back, trying to just get it right, I want you to hear this. I know perfection feels safe, but feeling safe also keeps you standing still. And standing still is the only thing that guarantees you no progress in building your business. All right, let's talk about the second big one. Fear of rejection. Because this is where a lot of people quietly stall out. Not because they don't want to do it, but because they don't want to feel uncomfortable doing it. The thoughts sound like, what if they don't respond? What if they say no? What if I sound dumb? What if I get asked something I don't know? Going back to the knowledge piece. So here's what people do. They wait. They tell themselves that they're still preparing. They stay in learning mode. They avoid putting themselves in a position where they can be seen. They continue to try to build a bookkeeping business by sending out cold emails, which here is a truth bomb for you. If you have been doing that, you will never build a prosperous bookkeeping business just sending out cold emails. You have to engage with people. Bookkeeping is the most sensitive part of any business. No one is going to turn over the login to their checking information, their credit card statements and all of that to someone they don't have a connection with. And you only build that by having real conversations. But here's the truth. Rejection is not proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're finally participating. Sorry. It's proof that you're finally participating and you're actually taking actions to build your business. Think about it. Because the people who get clients aren't the people who avoid rejection. They're the people who hear no and keep going. They adjust. They take that no as an opportunity to learn, but they stay in motion and they take consistent action anyways. And here's the way you'll find when you start doing this. Not every no is permanent. Some of it's just timing. Some of it may be lack of clarity or not an understanding. Some turn into a yes later down the road once you re-engage. But none of that happens if you stay silent. So the goal is not how to avoid discomfort. The goal is how do I get strong enough to move through it and to learn from it and to actually see what it is as an opportunity to get better every single time. I know it sounds corny, but I'm one of those big believers that it is a formula, and it takes so many no's to get to a yes. And I can't get to that yes if I don't have a certain amount of no's. So no matter what it is, I always try to figure the formula out, because this is where momentum starts. Now, let's talk about overwhelm, because this one feels very real for a lot of people. You sign up for the academy, you have your onboarding session with our onboarding team, and then you're thrown into the deep end of the pool. All of a sudden, you got a coaching calendar with 7 to 9 live coaching calls a week. You've got access to a training portal that easily has 200 plus hours worth of training on it, if not more. You get a dedicated success manager reaching out to you. And just, it feels like I just need to get all of this set up first. So you try to start building everything at once. You try to figure your niche out, your brand, your website, your content. You start onboarding tools like Anchor and Keeper and Double when you don't even have a client yet. And what happens? Your focus gets split into 10 different directions. And when your focus is split, your action becomes inconsistent. And when your action becomes inconsistent, the results aren't going to show up. So then it starts feeling like I'm trying, but it's not working. But then you've got to ask yourself, what consistent actions have I been taking? Have I done something every single day to drive my business? Am I posting on social media 3 to 4 times a week? Am I responding to posts? Am I attending at least one networking event a week? So I want to simplify this for you. You don't need more to do. You actually need less to focus on, because clarity doesn't come from adding more. It comes from removing what doesn't matter yet. I actually had a coaching call, and an academy student who had been with us for 2 weeks had spent literally an entire weekend trying to learn Anchor. Anchor, if you don't know, is a platform where you keep track of all your clients, your contracts, your engagements. And she spent an entire weekend doing that instead of focus on getting a client. Clarity comes from removing what doesn't matter yet. And that's what we're about to do, because that leads us right into the fourth piece: lack of structure. This is where a lot of people, they're working hard, but not in the way that actually builds anything that's leading to clients. Because every day starts from scratch. You wake up, you think, what should I work on today? And depending upon how you feel, you either do something productive or you avoid some of that uncomfortable stuff we just talked about. Or maybe you stay busy with low impact tasks. And the day ends and you think, wow, I was busy, but did I actually move forward with building my business? Things like that can get exhausting. And ultimately, things like that kill momentum, because momentum comes from repetition, not randomness. And when you don't have structure, when you don't have a plan, you rely on motivation, you rely on energy, and you rely on just feeling ready. And those are not consistent. Those fluctuate. Sometimes they fluctuate through the day. That's why I'm so big on having a weekly game plan. So I have a to-do list every single day, and I prioritize everything on my to-do list: A, B, C, D, or E. A, A are these tasks that are labeled A must be done before I log out for the day. A B is important. It's really important. It really needs to get done today, but the world is not going to come to an end if I don't do a B. It'll probably become an A tomorrow. C's they need to be done within the next 5 days. I'm not going to kill myself to get to a C before I get to an A or a B. And this is what happens sometimes is we got a list of tasks to do, and then we're getting at the crunch, and then we do the easy things instead of the things that really matter. D is delegate. And this is in our personal life also. What do we need to delegate to someone else to do? If it's not building my family first, or I have a job, can I delegate it to someone else so I can focus on building my business? E is the most important one. Eliminate. Going back to what I was just saying, if it's not going towards building your or supporting your family, your job if you still have one, or building your business, do you need to be doing it? So many people, other people, are guilty of putting things on our to-do list that don't drive those three things. To me and Deanna, family comes first, building our business, and then if there's time, there's the other things. I've gotten very good at telling people, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no today so that I can say yes more in the future. So you really need to take and then what I do is I take and I prioritize all of that. And then at the end of the day, I write my new list for tomorrow. I don't do it at the beginning of the next day. I create a whole new page and relabel A, B, C, D, or E, because then when I sit down the next morning, I sit down refreshed, ready to go, and I'm not reliving the PTSD from the previous day. And the last thing I do when I log out on a Friday is write my sales and marketing plan for the next week. What am I going to do to drive our businesses for next week? So I have a plan. Deanna and I are very big about celebrating small wins. Right now, you're so hard on yourself because you think your ultimate win is getting a client. But, if building a business was easy, the world would be full of nothing but business owners and no employees. But if you create a plan for yourself and then you celebrate that I worked my plan. So we're going to talk about creating a plan here in a moment. And what I challenge you to do is, if you work that plan at the end of the week, reward yourself. Go out to dinner. Go on a picnic. It doesn't even have to cost money. Go do something different that feels like a reward, because then you get a feeling of accomplishment. You're going to want to do it more the next day and more the next day and more the next day. And that's where the consistency comes in. When you have a system in place that's simple and repeatable, it removes the guesswork. You know what to do, when to do it, and what progress looks like. And that creates something powerful. That creates consistency. And consistency is what turns efforts into results, because consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates conversations. Conversations turn into clients. So you don't need a complicated system right now. You just need a simple rhythm you can actually follow within your day. All right, now let's simplify this a bit. because this is where most people start overcomplicating things. In the beginning, your job is not to look established. Your job is to become active. Your job is to become visible. And that's a completely different standard. A lot of people think I need to look professional. I need everything set up perfectly. I need to have all this figured out. But in your first 30, 60 days, that's not your goal. The goal is motion. The goal is action. The goal is putting yourself in a position where you have opportunities that people can actually find you. So instead of trying to build everything, narrow it down to 3 things that actually matter: conversations, visibility, and offers. That's it. And we're going to dig into each one of those. If you focus on these 3 consistently, you'll create more progress than someone trying to do a perfect 10 different things all at once. So let's break them down. First, conversations. Because this one is one of the fastest ways to build momentum. It's also one of the most avoided ways. A lot of people are trying to build a business quietly. They're learning, they're planning, they're organizing, but they're not actually talking to people. And here's the reality. Opportunities come from conversations, not from sitting behind a screen trying to feel ready. That is not where someone is going to turn over access to their checking accounts, their credit card information, the most sensitive part of their business, by someone who's emailing them, someone who's in the background, someone that isn't wanting to be visible. You've got to have conversations because conversations create trust. They create clarity. Conversations offer you an opportunity for feedback. And this is a big one. It creates referrals. And ultimately, the more conversations you have, the more confidence that you're going to build. Every conversation sharpens your message. Every conversation builds your comfort level. Every conversation increases your chances of being connected to someone who needs what you do. And these don't have to be perfect. And they don't have to be formal slides. They can be reaching out to someone you know, reconnecting with a past coworker, talking to a business, that a business owner that you locally go to. You go to a restaurant every single Friday night for the past 10 years. One night, stop, ask for the owner, introduce yourself. Hey, my name's Bill with Rogers Bookkeeping. I love coming here with my family. The food is great. The service is great. The atmosphere is great. I really help business owners grow their businesses through bookkeeping. I'd love to schedule a free 15-minute business evaluation to do with you to learn a little bit more about your journey and learn a little bit more about your business and goals. How's next Friday at 5 o'clock sound? That's it. It's a conversation. Maybe you're engaging with someone in one of your Facebook groups, but the goal is to keep it simple. Human conversations, not polished pitches, because businesses grow through relationships, especially bookkeeping. And relationships, they grow through conversations. So if you've been quiet, this is one of the fastest places to shift to gain momentum quickly. Now let's talk about visibility, because this is where a lot of people unintentionally disappear. They want the clients, they want the referrals, they want the opportunities, but they're not showing up consistently enough to be remembered. They post once on social media on a Monday and then don't post again until Wednesday, week after next. Visibility doesn't mean being loud, or it doesn't mean being perfect. It means being present and being present consistently. It means people see you enough to think, oh yeah, he or she, they do bookkeeping. So what does that actually look like? It could be posting on Facebook or LinkedIn, sharing what you do in a simple language. If you haven't seen the training that I did a couple weeks ago on Facebook groups. Go to the training, which I'm going to share with all of y'all tonight. I know Emily sent out, but we sort of split up our training modules, and I want to make sure you all have access to it. So I'm going to show y'all that. But go watch the one I did a few weeks ago on Facebook. Keep in mind, when we survey our Academy students and we ask them, where do you find the majority of your clients? And we do this once a year because that plans our entire curriculum. Number one is always networking. Number two this year was Facebook and Facebook groups. And number three was building out a referral program. Number two and number three flip-flop this year. So are you posting on Facebook? Sharing what you do in a simple language, commenting on local business posts, engaging in groups, attending events, introducing yourself clearly? It's not about doing everything. It's about doing something consistently. Because here's the truth. You don't need a massive big audience. You need repeated exposure to the right people. And a lot of people are waiting to refer a friend, a family member, or someone like that. But if you're not visible consistently, how are they going to remember to refer you? That's like expecting people to recommend you when they forgot that you even existed. Visibility simply keeps you top of mind, and top of mind, that's what leads to opportunity. All right, let's talk about something that holds a lot of people back without even realizing it. Clarity. A lot of people are showing up, but they're showing up vaguely. They're saying things like, I do bookkeeping. Let me know if you need anything. I'm just now getting my business going. I want to be your bookkeeper. And what happens? People hear it, but you really don't stand out in their mind. They don't really understand it. And when people don't understand what you do, and more importantly, if they don't understand what makes you different, that's why if I was a bookkeeper, now you all know that Deanna and I aren't the bookkeepers in the family. Tracy is. She's the bookkeeper. She's that one. We're the business people. But if I was a bookkeeper, that's why I would always introduce myself. Hi, I'm Bill with Rogers Bookkeeping. You know, I really see myself as a strategic growth partner in your business through bookkeeping. You know, what I really want to do is I want to understand what your goals are, what your struggles are when it comes to the financial management of your business, and more importantly, what your strengths are. Because what I want to do is I want to help you hit your goals by overcoming the struggles when it comes to the financial management of your business, so you can focus on what your strengths are. And that's to get out from behind the counter, get out from behind the computer, and meet potential clients. See how relational that is? See how that is different than just I'm a bookkeeper? So this is where you want to tighten things up. At some point, you have to clearly communicate, one, who you help, two, what you help with, three, why it matters, and how can someone take that next step. I help small to medium business owners grow their business by helping them with more clarity when it comes to the financial management of their business, because I know what you want to focus on is meeting customers, meeting clients, and not stuck behind a computer. I would love to schedule a 15-minute business evaluation to learn more about your business. I talked about who I help. I talked about what I help with. I talked about why it matters, and I gave them the next step. And I always say a free 15-minute business evaluation, not an hour-long discovery call. Because now it may lead to an hour long, but most business owners would be willing to give up 15 minutes to learn how you can help them grow their business. See, that's not perfect. It's just clearly stating what I do, because clarity creates trust. And trust is what makes someone say, hey, I might actually need your help. Or, you know, I know someone, you know, I know a guy who was struggling with his taxes because his books were so out of whack. Let me reach out to them and do an introduction. See, you don't need a complicated offer. You need a simple, understandable offer. So instead of trying to sound impressive, focus on being clear, focus on being human, focus on leading with that servant's mentality, because clarity is what gets clients. All right, now this is an important one, because this is where people lose a lot of time. There are a lot of things that can feel productive, but don't actually move you forward with getting clients. And here's the reason why they're so tempting, because they feel safe. Things like working on your logo, tweaking your website, researching software for hours, rewriting your bio over and over and over, trying to pick the perfect niche, or trying to make everything look polished. And don't get me wrong, none of these are bad, but you're still too early for a lot of this. And they're definitely not what creates momentum. Create a logo and move on. You can always change it later. With ChatGPT and Canva, you should have creating a logo should be less than a 5-minute exercise. Doing things like obsessing about things like this keep you in preparation mode. They make you feel busy without putting you in front of real opportunities, having real conversations. And if you're really honest, a lot of those things feel easier than actually starting conversations, being visible, making offers. So here's the shift I want you to make. Stop asking, what can I work on? Start asking, what will actually move this journey forward? Because in the beginning, it's far more important to be active. It's far important to be doing things like Facebook posts, networking, having conversations, building out a referral program, than try to look impressive. All right, let's bring this all together, because I don't want you leaving this thinking, okay, that was helpful. Now what? All right, here's your now what. For the next 30 days, I want you to follow a very simple system, not overly complicated, not overwhelming, just consistent. We'll call it the daily 3. And I actually mean the daily 3. Every day, reach out to 3 people, start a conversation, reconnect, build relationships. Make one visible move, post something, comment. This is something that people often don't realize how impactful it is. If you're involved in groups in Facebook, which you should be, commenting on other business owners' posts can get you so much more traction than your post. Because let's be honest, when you post something on social media, we all go back and look at who liked it and who commented on it. I don't care if I'm posting about my grandson, my automotive shop, the Bookkeeper Academy. I always go back and look who's commenting on it. Everybody does. It's human nature. So if you see a business owner posting, comment on it. After 3 comments on 3 of their different posts, send them a DM. They'll know who you are because they saw you consistently commenting on them. So make one visible move. Post something, comment, show up where people can see you. Follow up with 3 people, because most opportunities don't happen on the first touch. This happens so much that so many people they give up too soon. They go to a networking event. They reach out once after that networking event. They didn't hear anything. Magically, that person didn't trip over themselves to sign you up as their bookkeeper. So then you never follow up again. It takes 5 to 7 outreaches the majority of the time for you to stick in someone's mind. And that's it. You don't need a 20-step strategy. You need a repeatable rhythm, because this system does something powerful. It removes the guesswork. You don't wake up wondering, what am I going to do? You already know it. And you remove that. When you remove that friction, you move more consistently, And when you move more consistently, everything starts to change. Now, let me show you why this system actually works. Let's do the math. Because some people hear daily 3 and they think, that doesn't sound like much. And that's exactly the point. It's not supposed to feel overwhelming. It's supposed to feel repeatable. Because what changes everything is repetition. So let's look. Over 30 days, if you reach out to 3 people a day, that's 90 conversations you started. If you make one visible move a day, that's 30 times people saw you, heard from you, were reminded you exist. If you follow up with 33 people in a day, that's 90 additional touch points. That's real activity, real exposure. Remember how I said to me it's a numbers game? This is how opportunities start to show up. And most people who feel behind, they're lacking ability. And this isn't a time thing. All of these, if I go back one, all of these can take less than an hour. It's not a time thing. We can find an hour in a 24-hour day every day. We can find an hour in our schedule. If it really means you quitting your job, spending more time with your family, getting financial freedom, whatever that why was, we can find that hour. And that's the simple math. You're just doing a little, then stopping and starting again and stopping and starting again. That's not going to build momentum. That breaks momentum every single time. Consistency doesn't feel exciting at the moment. It just feels like a task sometimes. But it compounds into results that can feel exciting later. But the goal is not to do something big once and then walk away. The goal is to do several small things, but do it over and over and over again until it creates momentum. All right, let's talk about confidence, because this is another place where people get stuck. They think, once I feel confident, I'll start. But that's not how it works. Confidence is not what allows action. Action is what actually builds confidence. You feel more confident after you send a message, after you get through that awkward moment, after you handle a conversation. You feel confident when you keep going anyway. That's where confidence comes from. It comes from evidence. And the only way you build evidence is by doing the thing. So if you've been waiting to feel ready, you might be waiting a really long time, because readiness doesn't show up first. Courage shows up first. This is why I always tell people at the beginning, know your why. So I guarantee you, if you had to walk through a burning building to save your child, you would do it without hesitation. Have that same kind of conviction to know your why you went on this journey anyhow, and take action despite of the uncomfortness. Then the confidence starts to build. And once that clicks in, you stop waiting, you start moving. All right, now let's bring this into real life, because I don't want this to be just to say as ideas. I actually want you to leave this call already in motion. So I'm going to do this right now. I want you to take a minute and I want you to write this down. 3 people that you could reach out to. Actual names. I want you to write it down, type it in your phone. Who are 3 people that you can reach out to? Not 20, not 100, not 10, 3. Actual names. People who you already know or could connect you to someone who does possibly need bookkeeping. Next, one visible move you're going to make within the next 24 hours before 6:50 p.m. Central Time tomorrow? Not I'll post something, but more what are you posting? Where are you posting it? Be specific. And then 3 people that you need to follow up with, 3 people that you've already talked to that maybe you haven't followed up with, people you've talked to before, or people who've said maybe later, or people who you've been meaning to reconnect with. Write those names down. Because here's the difference. Inspiration, it feels good in the moment, but specificity creates action. And action is what creates change. So take a minute right now and really lock that in. All right, before we wrap this up, I want to give you a new way to measure your progress, because this is where most people get it wrong. They measure how they feel. And we talked about this earlier. Do I feel ready? Do I feel confident? Do I feel like I'm doing enough? Or maybe, do I feel behind compared to others in the academy? And here's the problem with that. Feelings change daily. Some days you'll feel motivated. Some days you don't. And quite frankly, I go through that. There are days I get up that I don't feel really motivated. If that's your scoreboard, you're always going to feel inconsistent. So instead, we shift the scoreboard. We measure action. How many people did I reach out to today? How many times did I make myself visible this week? How many follow-ups did I actually send? How many days did I stay in motion? Because those are things that you can control. And when you start tracking that, something interesting is going to happen. You stop guessing. And you actually start to see the truth. And here's the truth. Most people don't need a better strategy. They need more consistent action than they've been giving themselves. And once you see that clearly, you stop making it emotional and you start making it practical. And practical problems are solved so much easier than emotional ones. All right, let's close this out. And I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. You're not too late. You're not disqualified. And you're most certainly not broken. What you may have been inconsistent. And that's fixable. It's actually very fixable. Because motion doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require you have everything figured out. It just requires that you start. And you start from where you're at right now. Because here's your decision point. It's not next week. It's not when things calm down. It's not when you have more time. It's not when you feel more ready. It's tonight. Before this day ends, send a message. In the next 24 hours, make yourself visible. Follow up. And then do it again the next day. Do it again the next day. Because after you do it consistently for 3 months, it becomes habitual. Anything you do for 3 months becomes habitual. If you follow this plan for 3 months, if you don't do it in a day, you're going to feel like you didn't put your shoes on in the morning when you walked out the door because you didn't do something you do every single day. Because momentum doesn't come from wishing you were further ahead. It comes from actually moving. It comes from exactly where you are. And the people who win in this game of building a business, any business, they're not the most talented. Because I could promise you one thing, I am not the most talented. They're the ones who keep moving. When everyone else keeps waiting, they're moving. So don't leave this as just another good training that you attended. Let this be the moment where you got back in motion. All right. Let's go take action. Now, thank you. Have a great evening. Take care.